G'day from Australia, Juan here. I wanted to take a little bit of time to go through some of my favorite quotes, some of my favorite bits and pieces from Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss. This one right here. So I've done a book review on this one, short, quick and dirty to give you a bit of an idea of what the book is and what it felt like. But now I want to deep dive into a couple of quotes, and I'm not going to pull out all the quotes because if you know the book and you saw my review, there are quotes galore in here. There'd probably be over 200 that at least are specifically called out. Tim has his own probably odd 100, and then you could extract even more out of it. So I'm not going to delve deep into that front. What I'm going to do is just go and talk through the fact of what are the ones that resonated with me, why they did, and why potentially they might with you as well. So look, let's get started. One of my first ones that I pulled out here is a question that helps answers many others, and Tim hits it up in the book right at the beginning. What would this look like if it were easy? So this is a particular query or way to ponder something that you want to do. So if you're looking to run 100 meters, 10 kilometers, you're trying to achieve something, just thinking about it of what would this look like if it was easy? What would be the way that you would undertake it to be as easy as possible? And it kind of lends itself to being as efficient as possible. So what would be the most efficient way that you could do this particular goal or task, right? Minimum amount of effort, maximum amount of value. Another one in there was John Dewey's Diatom. A problem well put is half solved. Love this one. I loved it in the fact that the book of Tribe of Mentors, Tim puts together these questions in really well articulated ways, almost in a way that it helps the individuals who are replying back in this book really answer and give you value in a really strong way. So yeah, really enjoyed it. It also made me think personally, putting together problems or trying to find solutions, I've got to sometimes retrospect and go, actually, the principle is I've got to articulate it well enough so that then I can present the final solution in a much easier way. So there's no point asking, why is the sky blue? But if you put that together in a bit more of a specific, understandable problem or question, you'll find the solution will be a little bit easier to come around. Another one here was from Samin Nosrad. Even the best gigs don't last forever, but nor should they. Again, great quote. Really enjoyed this one for the fact that, it's not to be expected that everything that you're doing is always going to be fantastic and it's going to be long term. Something we've talked about in the past in Mere Mortals is, you look back in history, companies are not there forever. Things are not always going to be the same state in the same status. So you expect to change, but when things are coming along that are great, don't be expecting them to be there forever, and neither should they, because there's always going to be change and transitions. That one was an awesome one. The Pavlovian style. This was not so much a quote as just a little sentence that I really enjoyed it. Saying things to be a Pavlovian style, i.e. by way of repetition. So Pavlov, that sort of articulation comes from Pavlov, which I don't know too deep, but it's from the way that training of dogs through repetition was done. One of the first sort of ways or articulated ways. This one actually really struck me as awesome. I love when I find different words in different languages that we don't see or really understand in, say, whether it's English or there's certain things in Spanish that you might say which don't really translate to other languages as well, and sort of gives you almost a definition or an emotion. But this one I pulled out was Sisu, and I hope I'm saying that right, a Finnish word, and it actually means the mental strength to continue to try even after you feel you have reached your limits. Sisu, what a great definition there. One of the other quotes, pursuing what gives you bliss over happiness. What a great quote. One of the things a lot of people really get stuck on is how can I be happy? How can I really be chasing happiness? How can I be more happy? All these sort of things. And this particular quote of just chasing what is pure bliss over happiness was twofold. One, it kind of pivots a little bit of that word structure. It's not so much that you're just trying to be happy, but you can be blissful pursuing things that are hard, or it can be tough, but still be in a state of bliss. It also, the way that this quote was actually determined was happiness is almost the normal level, right? The base level. And pure bliss is how can you get to those upper echelon levels of, I guess you call it bliss. Debbie Millman, she has if you are doing something you love, you don't want work-life balance. I couldn't agree more. At least personally for myself, I want to be doing things that you love, you enjoy, to the point that you're not thinking, oh well, it's the weekend, it's this and that. You're doing it for the sake that you love it and it's enjoyable. This one was a great one too. Reasoning by first principles, and here the example is a chef, and reasoning by analogy, and here is a cook. And it's not to say that one of them is right and one of them is wrong. It's just to say that there are different ways of reasoning. So if you example of a chef by first principles, the basic foundations of something. And so with those basic foundations, you can go and create many things. You don't need to know the exact process to make butter chicken, but if you know the base foundation of how to make a good cream, how to make a good chicken, et cetera, you can then extrapolate that through and do a lot of other things. I like that as well because looking back at my sort of younger days in physics and maths, and engineering, you learn a lot of things by first principles, and you can extrapolate that to solve quite a number of problems. But then there's also the reasoning by analogy, and that's by sort of that cook, where by analogy is from almost a direct recipe or an order and able to sort of follow that procedural. And you can go between the two, right? It's a dichotomy between the two. So I really enjoyed that particular one. Another one in there, and everyone loves this. Ego is about who's right. Truth is about what's right. Love that. Awesome. Ego can be really stuck with the individual. You're really battling yourself to being like, okay, well, is it you that's right, or is it me that's right? In the end, the truth is just what is actually right. Sometimes we forget about that. We think that ourselves is the only truth, when it's really our ego trying to figure out who's the person who's right, as opposed to what the actual truth is. To finish off, for this particular ones on the quotes, something that summarized and not giving away too much of what the book here provides, but one of the things that Tim summarizes with in the end, to be successful, you actually need to not focus so much on being successful. I don't know, it's a little bit counterintuitive, but the whole pretense of it is like the more you focus on something, the more it's going to be both harder to reach and for you to be affecting on it. And you're always going to be really, I guess, on tenterhook thinking about it, right? That you have to be successful. You have to be doing these things, all this pressure and all this stress. And you'll find that, following other things as, things that make you blissful, things that make you happy, ways to be de-stressed, focusing on the things that you love, in that roundabout way, you'll end up reaching success regardless. And that might not be what you initially intended it to be. If your mindset is, hey, well, I need to be a millionaire, and that's what success means. In the end, it might mean that, you pursue completely different things. You find bliss in other ways. You find love in other ways. And in the end, you look back and go, actually, now I'm successful in what I thought was success wasn't ever the case in the first place. So anyways, there's a couple of quotes from Tribe of Mentors by Timothy Ferriss. I would definitely recommend, if you haven't checked out the review as well, go and take a look. But grab the book, give it a bit of a read, understand, learn. Ladies and gentlemen, Juan out.